My name is Alexei, and I come from a family of Russian oligarchs. Wealth has always been a part of my life, but I never really felt like I belonged in that world. I remember the time my father offered me a pet tiger for my birthday. Even then, I knew it wasn't for me. So, I decided to leave that life behind and go undercover, blending into society as a poor man. I found a modest apartment in the city and landed a job at a company that, unbeknownst to everyone, was actually owned by my family. I kept my true identity shrouded in secrecy, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. I worked under David, my boss, who constantly disrespected me. Every slight he threw my way only fueled my determination to keep my secret, biding my time for the perfect moment to reveal the truth. Little did he know who he was truly dealing with or the sheer magnitude of the surprise that awaited him. One day, David decided to berate me in front of everyone. Alexei, your incompetence never ceases to amaze me. Do you have any idea how much your mistakes cost this company? I rolled my eyes, deciding to clap back with some wit. You know, David, they say great leaders inspire greatness in others, but all you seem to inspire is a headache. David's face turned red with anger. You insolent little! Watch your tongue, or you'll be out of a job before you can say unemployment! I smirked, feeling the suspense build up. Well, if I'm so terrible at my job, David, why don't you tell me exactly how to improve? Or is it that you're too busy driving that shiny Lambo of yours to bother with us lowly employees? He clenched his jaw, struggling to find a retort. You just wait, Alexei! One of these days you'll learn the hard way that you can't talk to your superior like that! Oh, I can't wait for that day, David, I replied with a grin, fully aware of the dramatic irony in our conversation. Little did he know that the power dynamic would soon shift in my favor. David's face turned red, but before he could respond, Natasha walked into the room. As Natasha, a breathtaking woman exuding sophistication, sauntered into the office, her presence was like a magnet, instantly grabbing my attention. I found myself captivated by her beauty, yet I couldn't shake the underlying feeling of arrogance and materialism that clung to her aura. It was a dangerous combination, but the enigma that surrounded her had me hopelessly intrigued, ensnaring me in a web of suspense and attraction. As she walked by my desk, I gathered my courage and decided to strike up a conversation. "Excuse me," I said, trying to sound as suave as possible. "I don't think we've met before. I'm Alexei." She arched an eyebrow and looked me up and down, her gaze assessing me like a priceless artifact. "Natasha," she replied with a cool, detached tone. "So, Alexei, what brings you to this mundane world of 9-to-5 drudgery?" I grinned, embracing the challenge her question presented. Well, Natasha, sometimes you have to experience the ordinary to truly appreciate the extraordinary, don't you think? She smirked, clearly intrigued by my response. "Interesting perspective. You're not like the others here, are you, Alexei?" I leaned in, lowering my voice to a conspirational whisper. "Maybe I'm not, Natasha, but that's for you to discover, isn't it?" As our conversation continued, the electricity between us was palpable, making the air around us crackle with anticipation. The meeting of our two worlds promised an adventure neither of us could have ever imagined. Over the next few months, Natasha and I grew closer, and I slowly fell in love with her despite her materialistic tendencies. One day, I decided to take a leap of faith and propose to her with my grandmother's ring, an exquisite piece worth millions of dollars. As I got down on one knee, I presented the ring to Natasha, whose eyes widened in disbelief. "Alexei, is this some kind of joke?" She scoffed, inspecting the ring with a look of disgust. "This looks so cheap. How could you think I'd accept such a pathetic proposal?" I was taken aback by her reaction, my heart sinking with disappointment. I tried to speak up, but she cut me off. "You're nothing, Alexei. You can't give me the life I deserve. And now that I think about it, I'm leaving you for David." The words hit me like a ton of bricks. David, my arrogant, condescending boss. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. But before I could process the situation, Natasha tossed the precious ring away, a cruel dismissal of our love. Crushed and betrayed, I knew it was time to return to my true identity and give Natasha the taste of the high life she so desperately craved. I sought solace in my family's luxurious yacht, moored in the city's marina. The next day, as I was leaving the yacht with a group of influential business people, I spotted Natasha and David approaching in his Lamborghini. The sight of me surrounded by wealth and power instantly piqued Natasha's interest, and she rushed over, interrupting our conversation. "Alexei, I had no idea you were, well, who you really are," she stammered, her eyes wide with shock and regret. "I was so wrong about you. Could you ever forgive me?" I smirked, feeling the suspense of the moment. "Oh, I'll take you back, Natasha, but be prepared for the wildest ride of your life." And so began my plan to teach Natasha a lesson about valuing people for who they are, not their wealth. Little did she know the roller coaster of emotions and experiences that awaited her. Every single day, I planned a new, over-the-top event, immersing her in the madness of wealth and excess. Our first stop was a lavish gala held in a beautiful mansion, the event dripping with opulence. As we walked around through the grand entrance, Natasha's eyes sparkled, taking in the breathtaking surroundings. "I never knew such a world existed, Alexei," she admitted, awestruck. I smirked, already sensing her discomfort. "Oh, Natasha, this is only the beginning," I teased, leading her to the dance floor where we waltzed the night away. As the days went by, the extravagance only increased. From exclusive fashion shows to attending private concerts with world-famous musicians, I was determined to push Natasha to her limits. She began to struggle with the constant onslaught of luxurious experiences, the superficiality of it all becoming more evident. With every passing day, the pressure mounted. Natasha's eyes widened as she attended yet another opulent event or boarded another private jet. "Alexei, I feel so out of place here," she whispered, her voice wavering. I leaned in, my voice low and deliberate. "But, Natasha, isn't this the life you always wanted? Surrounded by wealth and luxury." Day by day, I could see her growing more and more exhausted with the constant whirlwind of extravagance. The constant barrage of luxury was taking its toll on her, pushing her to the breaking point. Finally, one night as we stood on the deck of my family's yacht, I could see that Natasha had reached her limit. The once alluring world of the ultra-rich had become a suffocating, hollow existence, and she could no longer bear it. As her eyes filled with tears, I revealed the truth about the ring she had so carelessly discarded. That ring, Natasha, was worth millions. Your inability to see its true value only proves how blinded you were by wealth and status. Natasha's voice trembled as she spoke. "I'm so sorry, Alexei. I didn't know. I didn't understand." I sighed, the suspense hanging heavy in the air, knowing that the time had come to confront her. "Natasha, do you realize why I did all of this?" I asked, my voice laced with emotion. She looked at me, her eyes filled with confusion. "What do you mean, Alexei?" I took a deep breath, ready to reveal the truth. "I wanted to teach you the importance of valuing people for who they are, not their wealth, all the luxuries, the extravagance. It was all a lesson." A tense silence settled between us as the reality of my words sank in. Slowly, Natasha began to understand the lesson I had been trying to teach her. She finally saw the superficiality of the ultra-wealthy lifestyle and how it had distorted her priorities. Tears welled up in her eyes as she reached for my hand. "Alexei, I never realized how wrong I was. I can't believe you went through all of this just to teach me a lesson." I nodded, my eyes locked on hers. "I did it because I love you, Natasha, and I believe you can change." As Natasha's perspective shifted over time, she began to appreciate the simpler things in life, cherishing the love and personal growth that came with it. Together, we realized that wealth and status were not the keys to happiness, and we decided to leave that world behind. But life had other plans. Enter Anastasia, the daughter of another wealthy family, who was determined to win my heart. She constantly tried to impress me with her lavish lifestyle and endless resources, attempting to lure me back into the world I had left behind. The tension between Natasha and Anastasia grew as they both competed for my affection. One evening, at a charity event, the rivalry between them reached its climax. Anastasia approached me, her eyes glittering with determination. "Alexei, you belong in our world, not with someone like Natasha. She'll never understand you like I do." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her audacity. "Really, Anastasia? And what makes you think you understand me so well?" But before I could get a response, Natasha stepped forward, her face a mix of anger and hurt. "Alexei doesn't need your world, Anastasia. He's seen the emptiness it brings, and so have I." Anastasia scoffed, her eyes narrowing. "You're just afraid of losing him, Natasha. But you can't compete with me. I can give him everything you can't." Natasha stood her ground, her eyes locked on Anastasia. "It's not about what you can give him. It's about who you are. Alexei isn't swayed by material things anymore." The air was thick with suspense as I looked between the two women, knowing I had to make a choice. I took Natasha's hand, facing Anastasia with a resolute expression. "Anastasia, your world has nothing to offer me. Natasha and I have found happiness in each other, not in material possessions." Anastasia's face fell, and she stormed off, leaving us alone. Natasha looked up at me, her eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you, Alexei. I'm so glad we've learned the true value of life together." As the weeks went by, Natasha and I continued to grow closer, embracing our new life together. One day, while we were packing our belongings to move to a more modest home, Natasha stumbled upon something that took her breath away. The ring she had once thrown away in a fit of arrogance and misunderstanding. Her eyes welled with tears as she picked up the exquisite piece, now understanding its true value. "Alexei," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "I found the ring, the one you proposed with. I can't believe it's been here all along." I walked over, a tender smile on my face, and took the ring from her trembling hand. "It's never too late, Natasha," I said softly, taking her hand in mine. "Will you marry me? Not for the wealth or the status, but for the love we found together." Natasha nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Yes, Alexei, yes, I will." I gently slid the ring onto her finger, and we embraced, our hearts overflowing with love and gratitude. Together, we faced our future with renewed determination, ready to leave behind the world of wealth and embrace the true, authentic life that awaited us. Hand in hand, we walked away from our past, ready to embark on a new journey. Our story, full of suspense and twists, came to a close with a powerful message about the importance of humility, love, and personal growth. Lessons we would carry with us for the rest of our lives.